morning, everyone, and we have some coffee here in a very nice Star Wars mug, but that is besides the point. It is currently like 9:15 in the morning, and I have a bin in front of me, and I would love to go over it with you guys. So this bin is actually different than what we've been doing. We've been going through like my old stock. Stuff I used to make, stuff I used to have. This is what used to be displayed. This is my pegboard from my last location. I had 2 sets of pegboard up on the wall and a bunch of blasters on them. I believe this was all on the pegboard, or if not, it got thrown in this box, or sorry, bin. But we're gonna go through it one by one, and hopefully we'll be able to keep this under 20 minutes, but let's find out. First up in the bin is my stock internal Recon Mark II. This is my original Recon Mark II that does not take 18 round straight mags, 35 round drums, anything with the bulge in the back of the magazine. It will not fit. You can see the clearance there is very, very tight. I think, because I'm looking ahead there, yeah, this 15 round curve would fit. But pretty cool. Vinyl dyed up. We have vinyl dyed black, a red automotive for the in-between fade. You can see there, and then white for the barrel. Stock internal, and obviously the handle was painted off. Never made a video on this because I was really into playing this game. I still am. I will binge the original Mass Effect trilogy, Legendary Edition, for months if I could. So, pretty cool. And this used to be up on my pegboard as kind of like a display piece as such. That's way too unstable to leave there. But considering my new setup wall, which you notice has changed since the last video was posted, I'm still working on clearing this out, but I obviously wanted to get a few things up here. Zephyr's heart is up here now, and that means a lot to me. So I might do something special with that. I have a set of lights right here that might go in there. But anyway, back to the reason we are actually here. N7 Recon Mark II, pretty cool. Next up is the Ravenfire. Now, Ravenfire got a lot of hate because it's partially solvent welded in random parts throughout the shell. And as a modder who loves Ravens, you guys know I love Ravens, also, I hate this trigger lock. It is so frustrating to not be able to pull the trigger. But I really love the Raven, and this one kind of broke my heart that you could see the overflow solvent weld on these lines. Well, you guys can, I can, because I'm sitting right here. But there's screws, and it's not Elite 2.0. Why did they make it so hard to take apart? But anyway, Ravenfire, it completes my Raven collection. Original, Elite, Stinger, Ravenfire. That's none of the other bullpup blasters, just the ones called the Raven. And I have a few modified Ravens as well, so maybe one day we'll be able to get the Ravens back up like they used to be. That'd be really cool. Switching gears to Rival. This is my modified Rival Kronos. This was pretty cool. I posted up about this on my Instagram page when it was being done, right when I was getting into posting on Instagram with everything I was doing. But this has a K26 T-pull handle. I did not paint the slider there because it is important that they move freely. From behind, it does look a little ugly, but that is a necessity. If you paint those, this gets really gummy. It kind of feels wrong. It has a full 3D printed Picatinny bottom rail that I just cut my finger on. It gave me a fucking splinter. Okay, this is definitely on the chopping block now. Anyway, it has the full printed bottom rail, snub nose kit, a little adapter looking thing, just cosmetic. Gives it a better front sight to the rear sight, although you're never gonna really aim this. These are actually pretty accurate, so you can, but they are way too much fun. And this has just the standard 5 ball internal magazine, and it's a little banged up, but obviously gold, and the front was taped off blue. It's a little messy, but in the end, from back here, it looks pretty good still. And otherwise, the handle is completely removable on Kronos's, so you can easily just take that off and not paint it, which is what I did. Couple of attachments. We have a blue Retaliator stock. Obviously, we know what that is too. A itty bitty nose on the Modulus expansion pack stealth barrel, I think. I might have actually had that on the Recon Mark II just to look cool. Spectre suppressor. Always love these. They're really fun to paint. Really hard to find now, but in a former bin video, we actually found a blue one, which came from the blue Star Wars blaster. So, still pretty cool. And we have a 15 round, it's actually kind of tweaked, honeycomb, is this even worker? It is worker mag with the replaceable bottom, so you can put the pull style ones on. This was in my Crimson Recon, which is where it should go back to, really. I don't know why this is in here. And obviously we have a clear Raider style stock. Don't mind me, my reflexes are pretty good. Collapsible, one attachment point, not two, so little flimsy. Next up, we have my Rival Jupiter. This is the Out of Darts Rival Jupiter. Full auto, small package, smaller than a Strife. Really easy to holster, Picatinny, and wired to a 3S. I don't remember motors or anything about this, but I never got to field test this. It was built in the garage, tested in the garage, played with in the garage, never actually used, and I don't have a space where, right now, that I could willingly just fire off all these Rival balls and be able to find them. But Rival Jupiter, Out of Darts Rival Jupiter, really cool, and this was kind of like my entry 3D printed blaster. I did not 3D print said blaster, but it was really cool to get a 3D printed blaster and assemble it. Kind of like my Caliburn, but that was pretty cool back then too. So next up is some vintage. This is the Nerf Hypersight Expandablast. It shoots the old school Mega Darts just like the crossbow, and it expands when you pull the foregrip down. Gives you something to hold on to, single shot, so you're not really going to, but anyway, has the collapsible stock. You gotta close that first. Has the collapsible stock, an expandable barrel. These are pretty cool. These stickers are pretty worn, and the sight is destroyed. You cannot see through it, but they're not really worth a lot. But, I mean, it's right here. It's an Expandablast. Kind of like the original Deploy, depending on how you want to think about that. Yes, I know, I just compared a vintage Nerf blaster to the Deploy. You guys gotta remember, the Deploy, when it came out, was a thing in itself. It's a blaster that deployed. The stock came out, it flipped over. Also, it had average end strike ranges, so I know a lot of times it had feeding issues, but that depends on your model. Mine was great. But let's move on. We have a Rampage Slamfire, the remake of the Raider, and this thing's pretty cool. I do really love the form factor on it. Really nice spread apart, but they alienated left-handed shooters with this. I gotta reach all the way over here to change the magazine. That just doesn't seem right. But anyway, Rampage, loved the double rail, and that always was kind of funny. The priming handle all the way forward, you pull the trigger, pulls it back, it opens the bolt a good like half inch. But anyway, let's not get bogged down with that. We have the Modulus regulator, which I know has batteries in it. I can feel it, and that concerns me. But who doesn't love Select Fire? The Select Fire was really cool. The one thing I really hated, and I wish I had a magazine, here we go, is the magazine release. It needs to be right here, and it's back on the firing trigger. I know they started doing this with Elite 2.0, but like this is where it started. That and the Hyperfire, I think, had something like this. That one was a little bit better, but there's no rounded plastic. You're just going from firing to shoving your finger forward, and that is not comfortable. I am not a big person. Not as big as Coop, and I know he really complained about these, but, yeah, modulus regulator. And as a Raven lover, you knew there was going to be more in here. I have a full set of Ravens. I think that's pretty clear. But this is a painted up Raven. This was a OG green. I had like 5 of these. You saw what we did to one recently, and, you know, we like Ravens from, like, here back, and not all of them like them from here forward. I really do. They're nice and compact, but this went desert style. We went complete tan vinyl dye with black underneath, so there's like a little bit of like speckling going on, which is honestly pretty cool. Not intentional until I realized it once I clear coated it, but it's got like a really nice black speckle going across the whole entire thing. It kind of fades from the front to the back. A carbon fiber wrap on this battery door, all wired up to a 2S LiPo with a 3D printed cage. I'm going to guess 42 or 42.5. That's kind of where my crush always was. No matter what blaster, that's generally what kind of cage it had in it. And this is running smooth blue blaster part wheels, which you can actually see a set right here for a project that will hopefully be happening soon, depending on delivery. So, yeah, there's that. Anyway, pretty cool. This was my second flywheel build of COVID, so kind of cool to stick around. Moving on. This was the first build of COVID. I can't believe these are actually all together. This is a Rebel Sweet Revenge, or whatever the other one was called. And I went to town on this thing, guys. This was my re-entry after a 2-year hiatus. All logos ground completely off, everything buttery smooth. Where the logos used to be, I actually did a little skim coat of Bondo just to keep that nice and smooth, because they were in some pretty odd places. Black vinyl dye. This part might have been tan vinyl dye, just to not impede the white, but a metallic black Oxford white. Funny enough, the Oxford white was my first new car. Back in 2016 was Oxford white, so I really liked being able to transfer that onto this blaster because I no longer have that vehicle. But this is pretty cool. It has a 5 or 7 kilogram spring in it. Not great, but I loved the purple, orange, and blue. Here we are. So obviously we have a rival knockout. Now, who doesn't love doing that? I'm going to attempt to actually chrono this in the bin. So, barrel. Nothing happened because it's not designed for that. Anyway, pretty cool, but I love the rival knockout. Just one of those things. Shouldn't do that. Having the barrel that pops out like that is pretty cool, but I think what else I just saw is gonna be better. Yeah, it is a cut down rival knockout. I believe it's a knockout. Guys, I could be wrong on that. It's been a long time since I played with one of these. But this has been extensively modified to shoot half darts. I mean, come on. It has a sled in here. It is all recessed in the back. This is a 3D printed carrier for half darts. You can store up to 8, one loaded. This has the stippling on the handle to give it a better grip. It's the only thing I never liked is I couldn't touch my fingers together while actually using this, but we're gonna go ahead and load this up and fire it, because if I remember correctly, this outshoots a lot of other blasters that I own. At 153.4 FPS out of a rival blaster, which I think has a different spring in it. It might be the stock spring. I can't dry fire it, otherwise I'll break it. Okay. Instant mark, and that sucks. But anyway, knockouts, guys. This one's obviously the better one of the two, but rival, half dart. My hand actually is tingling from that shot. That's pretty cool. This is a red Sonic strong arm with the full barrel drop mod. You can see the sled is cut on the very precise angle to make sure that is as seamless as possible. No other modifications have been done. There's no springs, no nothing. Slam fire still intact, just the barrel drop mod, and that is how I ran this for years until I realized that this is still kind of a dark looking blaster. Not enough bright neon or orange, or it's kind of subtle with the red, but you know, still pretty cool. Stargazer. This was my original Nerf hammer shot that I got when the hammer shot came out. This has a 7-shot cylinder from Out of Darts and a blaster parts metal kit, so you can very easily get your hand on that priming bar, and you can fan fire this. You can see it does rotate, but pretty cool. Was really cool to keep this around when I made it back in the day. Logo removal was pretty weak. I could still see some of the words, but I'm not going to question my abilities back in 2018, 2019. I know I'm more capable now, or at least I was. I'm relearning all these skills as we're moving forward. A lot of stuff you guys haven't seen yet, and I'm really excited to keep bringing it to you. My upload schedule up to this point, as of filming this, which is about the end of January, has been 1 video a week. I don't know if that's going to be consistent. I want to start putting out 2, but content is going to be a little bit of an issue. I have a really long backlog. I think I'm out to like the middle of March right now with all really cool stuff I can't wait to show you guys. This project sitting right here, with the parts for it anyway, you're probably going to end up seeing sooner because I don't know if it's ever been done before. The parts were available on Thingiverse, but there's been no documentation, no videos. Nerf Haven is not a good site anymore, but no one has really done this before, and I'm so excited to show it to you. It might be a special Friday upload, but that's a tease, and if it happens, you guys will already know about it because this will be about a month and a half later. I'm just super excited. Moving on into the bin. This is obviously a green strife. What's so special about a green strife? This is the COVID strife. This was built as my first flywheel blaster of COVID, or really the second blaster built during COVID, but who can blame me? We all love the strife, and this was still pretty cool. I have batteries behind me, and I'm going to do a short of a bunch of these blasters firing because, I mean, who doesn't want to see some chrono? But same expanded magwell that I still use. You guys just saw that not too long ago on a strife build and overview. And the same expanded battery door. This was actually Worker. I did not print this one. This one came from Worker. I printed this myself. Same with the triggers. And this is running my red artifact cage that was in my epic Rapid Strike build that used to be the featured video on my channel for 7 years while it was dark. But anyway, this has a voltmeter access, or that turns on when you open this access door. And it is set up for a 2S running smooth blaster part wheels. You can tell I really love those wheels. Actually, those look fun. So the wheels are black, which means they're probably Cyclone wheels, which I don't know if that's a good combo. Cyclone wheels are actually really heavy. Anyway, we'll get some chrono readings with all this stuff because my batteries are right there. And in a state of hibernation per se, because it is winter. So we'll have to charge those up and do some chrono on this. I also painted a mag to go with it because I thought it looked pretty cool. Anyway, moving on. And you thought the last strife was cool, and you would be correct. This is a stock strife. This is when they did the blue, camo, water, weird, white, dark blue, light blue, gray, black thing. This was like the last hurrah when the strife was kind of a thing. This was after the modulus white strife. I think this might have been the last one that they offered for a while. I'm not so sure until obviously the Strife Pro X or X Pro thing came out. But anyway, pretty cool stock. Never been opened. Does not have the... It has the rev trigger lock, but not the dart lock. You guys remember the dart lock on Strifes? If you don't, I'm gonna remind you. Dart locks on Strifes? Well, this is a original stock blue Strife. Never been opened. never been tampered with, is in the form it is when I purchased it. It's been in a bin instead of a box, so it's got some marks on it, but honestly, a lot of them just rubbed off, so they were dirt. It's original magazine. It has a little bit of a mark on it, which is Sharpie, and maybe this isn't its original magazine. Maybe I've been using its original magazine and other stuff. That doesn't matter. But it's never been opened, never been tampered with, and I can't pull the trigger. Magazine's in, I cannot pull the trigger. There is a little flappy paddle right here. If you guys can see that, when depressed, I can pull the trigger. Strifes used to have a dart lock, which means you could fire off 6 darts and not be able to pull that trigger again. Technically fine, not really that big of a deal, but it's gummy, it locks the trigger, it feels weird, and we all take them out anyway, but who doesn't love still having a stock blue strife? At this day and age, you cannot find these. You can find the orange ones. I want one just so I complete the strife collection, but it's not really that big of a deal. I've modified and painted so many strifes over the years, but I still love the strife. This will be remaining stock. This, I believe, came with the mission kit. I think came with the mission kit. No, that's not old enough. I bought this when it first came out. Anyway, probably cannibalized that one, but stock blue strife, really cool to keep and never let go of. Blue worker stock, we're going to be leaving this out. You guys will see that soon. This was a motor cover to the green strife. You would notice there's no holes in the shell, so it doesn't really need this, but I wanted it to have a motor cover. If you guys remember, if you did watch that video, if not, I will actually link it to all the mods of 2020, including ones that did not actually make it to the video, or sorry, did not have individual videos, were featured in that. And who doesn't love a little reminiscing in my old shop/environment? Still pretty cool. I am peeling hot glue, so do not let me waste your time. And last but not least, my most prized possession strife-wise, excluding the former glory of Zephyr, which I love that her heart is right behind me, is my original blue strife, guys. You'll notice it's really discolored. Look at this. Never seen sun, been abused in sun. Dark blue, lighter blue, but this was already dark blue. Really, really crazy. But, yeah, so this is my original blue strife. I bought this when it came out. Patent information says 2011, but I don't think the strife came out till 2012 or 2013. You can Wikipedia that. I'm not going to. But this has seen a lot of better days. I got this originally when I started flinging foam and or nerfing, depending on what term you guys like using. I like flinging foam. I know a lot of people have used that, and that is kind of like their thing, but it was nerfing back then, right? We only really had Nerf who was really making this kind of stuff. Everyone else was kind of trash at it then. But a lot of companies started stepping up. Now we have a lot more options. But this was like the first flywheel blaster that was this compact. It was the Barricade, the Raven. I don't really count the Stampede because that's still spring power, that's not flywheel. And then we went to Elite. Unless I'm missing something. I don't think I am. But anyway, this had a little basic rewire with stock motors and everything back when that was a thing. Cleaned up the circuit, 3 IMRs, 1 dummy, and that's how this lived its life for many years. It got thrown in storage, and obviously did not fare well because of how dark it is, but it's actually kind of cool. It doesn't look like a normal Elite blaster because of how dark this really became, and it's kind of funny. But anyway, long story short, this is my Nick's Cage Strife. This has Drax Nick's Cage in it. You will not be able to see it because of how dark it is in there, but has my Nick's Cage, has a voltmeter up here, which has this button on the side, which is beautiful because you don't have to open anything. You can kind of click it and peek from the side. This is a modulus strife, battery door, top rail, and jam door, because somehow I lost the original parts and I destroyed a modulus strife while trying to put a full auto kit it back in 2018. I was trying to run the full auto kit off of 3 IMRs and 1 dummy, which ended up being 4 IMRs because of the current draw, and I somewhat melted some stuff, which is why these parts were actually still good. So obviously they stayed. Moving around bothers me, but when it's in use, this would never have this door on it. And this has a full set of Galaxy printed parts from Black Steel Props or Hawkeye 007. Triggers, barrel, sling attachment points, and this has a pre-production. You can tell me if I'm wrong, because I know you watch. I believe this is 3D printed, this magwell. I had to fix it in 2 different places. I got it as a 4th owner, and it was cracked here. You can actually kind of see right here where it was cracked. And you can see these lines. This might be resin, but if it is, it's seen better days. It has print lines, I think. And then it was cracked here all the way through. So it was reassembled on the bench, and you really can't tell from the outside, which is nice. But anyway, that is my Nick Strife, and probably hopefully the most powerful Strife here. Again, we're going to do chrono readings one of these days, but I'll eventually get a stand, and that will go there, because who doesn't love looking at that? I love looking at that. But yeah, guys, that is this bin. So thank you so much for sticking around with me and watching me go through my junk. Not really junk, some of it's kind of cool. Throughout this whole process, I am going through a lot of stuff, and I'm looking to part ways with a lot of stuff. So I'm going to be doing a impromptu sale video for anyone who actually watches and is interested of a few things. And disclaimer, I'm not responsible for anything that happens while you own it. It is going to be functional and tested before it leaves me. But that will all happen in a different video. And thank you guys very much for watching, and as always, peace out, bros.